sky's not blue.
Welcome back to the Cult House Podcast. I'm your host, the Scholar of Spite and the Saturday Night Delight, Roger Riddell. Joining me today, he is the guitarist for German darkwave metal band Lord of the Lost, Pi Stoffers. How are you doing today, Pi?
Hello, I'm doing very good, thank you. I love that you incorporated darkwave. It's been a term that for a while now we've really liked. Among the all the confusion over the years, what is this band? Um, yeah, I love it. Thank you for incorporating that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think that it also just sounds a lot cooler than just saying like goth metal, because I feel like goth metal can encompass just like a wide variety of things, but darkwave feels way more specific.
Which is ironic because to so many people we are very unspecific. I mean, we are always in a way specific with what we're doing in one moment. But then again, if you, I don't know, replay 3 years ago, it's vastly different, you know?
Yeah.
To some people, over the years, that became like a bit confusing, and I get why. And it's just our brains saying, "No, we want to do this now." It's it's a bit like a kid going, "Oh, there's a butterfly. Oh, there's another butterfly." Um, However, now the bug kind of became a feature, because we we didn't have to pinpoint to anything. We just did what we wanted to do, and now we can pull off a lot of things, a lot of various festivals, and just be us as opposed to be some certain genre.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things that I noticed just in preparing for this, because this interview is also just kind of my introduction to Lord of the Lost.
Oh.
I wasn't familiar with you guys before this, but like just studying before this or researching rather,
Mhm.
um, you guys have a lot of range, and it's one of the things that, to me, I think is the most appealing thing about you because you are hard to pin down.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think that just from an artist perspective, to us it's very appealing because we've created this freedom for us that basically we can do whatever we want in a way. And I think um essentially any artist can do that, but I guess you know what I'm talking about when I'm saying it, and don't mean that in in the most negative way and not as negative as it sounds, but from some people it is expected to do a certain thing, and it's expected to sound a certain way and to look a certain way. And maybe some people, I'm just guessing here, but some people can get caught up in all this and be a little bit caged. Um, we never created this kind of problem for us, also to our own disadvantage, because sometimes some people just didn't in the past, and probably in the future as well, some people just didn't know who we are and what we are. And people like um people like to categorize, and I see why. It's easier. It's also easy for festival bookings or whatever to say, okay, this is our metal festival X, so we have to book more or less metal bands. But then there's also bands who are very pop and metal, who are so much crossover that they don't really fit the roster, and that can be a problem. But I think also festivals are getting way more brave with things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's one of the things too. When I see a bill for like a festival or a tour, sometimes it feels like more appealing to me if I see that there's a wider variety of um, different kinds of bands on the bill as opposed to just like every band is a thrash band or every band is all doom or whatever along those lines.
Yeah, I love that way more as well.
Yeah, so you guys have a new album, Opus Noir, out August 8th. It is the first of a trilogy of albums. How did that whole process of writing come about, and at what point in the writing and recording process did you guys realize, oh, we have like a whole trilogy here as opposed to just one new album?
It's funny that you're saying it that way because there's a lot of people who think that we planned on doing a trilogy and we really didn't. We really didn't. It was exactly like you said. It was just in the beginning. It was very straightforward because we just thought we let's do an album, and an album these days is, I don't know, to some people it's 10 songs. To us, it's more like 12 to 14 songs. Um, and we just started writing. We knew what the overall vibe was going to be, what we wanted, what we didn't want on this album, and that we wanted to go the way that we went with our aesthetics and the emotional vibe, and that we wanted, as opposed to, for example, Blood and Glitter, the predecessor, um, which was very, very uplifting and joyful in a way, and very, very urban at times. And looking at the world around us, we wanted to go a different route and say, okay, we want to look inside of ourselves and find the depth of ourselves and look at them and tell stories about them and write about them. And what then happens, because when you write about stuff that's going on inside of you, you usually, when you look at it, have to say a lot of things. So when um, you write a lot of songs, and it just so happened that at some point in the writing process, we listened to the demos and found that we had more than 20 demos where we were all like, this needs to be on the album. So what we didn't want to do is do any B-sides or magazine exclusives or anything with these. So we were like, okay, what do we do? Because this is more than just one album. And also we've already done a double album. What do we do? So we decided, at first we said the word triple album, but obviously when you put out a triple album with 33 songs, some songs will just fall off the bandwagon and be like, yeah, whatever, we don't listen to these anymore, because it's hard to digest an album with 33 songs. I get that. I wouldn't digest it. I wouldn't listen to it all. Um, but we didn't want that. We want all of these songs to be presented as the album. So what we did was like, okay, we have to separate it, and we have 33 songs, so we can do 3 times 11, um, and be it and have it be this whole album. But the process of the release of the album is way longer, which is nice. So we can really, really get everything out of this world that we want to. And also, um, we have this huge playground of music that can be, yeah, presented in the way that we thought it's adequate for it. And I'm looking forward to not only have this volume one out now on August 8th, but volume two and three aren't like 2 years coming 2 years after. They're more like a few months later. So volume two is coming out in December, on December 12th, and volume three is coming out on April 10th in 26. So fairly short timing in between, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying too, from that standpoint of not wanting to just release them all as a single package, because from a listener standpoint, I think sometimes that can be daunting as well. Whereas, like
Mm.
with Metallica's Load and Reload, or Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, or System of a Down's like Mesmerize and Hypnotize,
Yeah.
They released those separately, and there was that space between each release for the fans to digest what was on each album. And it also, I know, especially from the Metallica standpoint, when they released Load, they were able to just kind of like preview versions of the Reload songs to their fans too. And so, is that something that you guys are also kind of keeping in mind with shows that are coming up where you might kind of like tease some of the stuff that's on volumes two and three?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we will because we also already showcase some songs that aren't even out um at live shows. So very, very old school. We open our shows with a song that's not even a single. That's just on the album. But we thought that's a perfect live opener. So let's fuck it, let's just do that, you know? What's gonna happen? What's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we're doing that, and also not not long after the first release, like the release of the first volume, we will obviously already start with rolling out singles for the second volume. So it just keeps on going. And also, yeah, probably foreshadowing a bit live then again when we were on tour.
Yeah, and you guys had a lot of collaborations during the recording process too. Like I know on Volume One alone, there's Within Temptation, Stimgevalt, Whiplasher Bernadette, Tina Guo, and on.
Mm.
How did a lot of those collaborations come about, and were any of them particularly surprising to you with how well they turned out?
Um, I mean, when you choose these features, you will already have the wish for it to be amazing. I'm not going to say expectation, but the wish for it to turn out amazing. And for example, the one with Within Temptation, it's it's a perfect fit. This song was basically written or rewritten for this collaboration, and we all think when we heard the final product, it is the perfect fit. But it came very differently to the song with Tina, for example. Within Temptation, we met in 2022 on tour with Iron Maiden. We were both support acts, um, and it took a long time to where both bands were at the right point in time to work together, and I'm glad it happened. And from that, when we all said yes, it was a very straightforward process. Um, with Tina, we met on tour, and the song Ghosts was already written and done. It was done. We didn't even think of um, a cello on this song. But also when we met Tina, when we were on tour in the USA and Canada, mm, we were like, it would be so cool to have you on a song. We just have to make room for you, and which song goes best for it. And she wrote her cello parts for Ghosts then, and we were like, yeah, that's actually as it should have been on the song. So, all a bit different. And with every guest, it was all a bit different. Sometimes you just meet randomly on a festival and then decide, yeah, you should sing this second verse or the ad libs or whatever with Whiplasher, for example. Yeah, all a bit different. And we're very lucky to have all 15 features among the three volumes with us.
Yeah. Yeah, I know with the Tina parts on Ghosts, like to your point, like they do perfectly accentuate that song. And I think a lot of it is just because like cello is such a moody instrument that it's just like a natural fit for um like metal and darkwave.
I guess there's whole bands that define them about over cello. I mean, if you think about Apocalyptica, they're a cello metal band, and no one ever said that doesn't fit. I
Yeah.
mean, there was someone who said that there's always that someone, but no. No. With Tina, I mean, she's a musical chameleon. She plays movie scores with Hans Zimmer live. Um, she wrote the theme for Wonder Woman. Um, Features on game soundtracks. I was super. It was a super funny moment when I played Cyberpunk 2077. You know that game?
Yeah.
And I saw her name in the credits. I was like, "What the? You're on that game too?" Okay. And you're also on our song. That's pretty nice. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing to have her on that song and fits very well. Also, just to the title Ghosts, because cello, especially the electric cello that she plays, can be very eerie. Fits very well.
Yeah, it's also just always funny, like just meeting anyone else who actually reads all the credits on like games and stuff. Because I know on the Guardians of the Galaxy game a few years ago, I was surprised when the credits were rolling, and I think it was like Matt from Cryptopsy and Alyssa from Arch Enemy were
Oh
doing
wow.
like monster voices on that game.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love credits, and we are always with music videos. We're very um picky with the credits that they have to be there, and there has to be we have to always shoot the rolling scene for the credits. It has to be from the video set or anything. So we love to we think it's necessary to incorporate them. So by nature, I always look at other credits if they're there. Obviously, with games, they're there always. Um, and I love that. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like still to this day prefer just like physical releases of music too. Not just because of credits, but because of, when a band is able to go above and beyond on something interesting with the packaging design, that
Mhm.
always sticks out to me. And I think one of the things that I've heard with Opus Noir is that you all actually have like a special package for the CD version.
We have this book, this wooden book version. So it's obviously special packaging, and then there's goodies in there, and I love that version. We we have so many. I always forget one, so I'm not gonna even bother try to say them all from the top of my head. I know there's that in Germany. There's a lunchbox version as well. So you actually have to get a lunchbox which you would bring to school. Um, but in this lunchbox, which is high quality actually, there's the CD in there, and there's a makeup set in there because obviously we're a band that for their shows and stuff, we wear makeup, and the visuals obviously are very important to us. And there's an shadow palette in there which features all the shades of color that fit the vibe of Opus Noir. They're all vegan and animal cruelty free, so high quality stuff, good stuff. There's nail polish in there. We have a liquid vinyl, which is nice. So you have these two vinyls pressed onto each other, and in between them there's black liquid. So whenever you move or it turns on the player, the liquid moves, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're fans of that, of just getting stupid with additions and designs. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that kind of stuff. And I think, to your point too, with the whole presentation of the band with the makeup and like the costuming and everything, that also ties really well into this concept that Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden describes in his autobiography, where he talks about how with any band that he's ever played with, whether it's like Maiden or a solo band, he always approaches it from the standpoint of wanting to engage the audience in like the theater of the mind, where it's more than just the music. Like he wants to take you on this journey that's both, auditory and visual. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we always say it's not just a gig, it's a performance. And we, I mean, with Maiden, for example, you see that very clearly when there is Eddie walking on stage, this in whatever outfit, and you have this kind of very theatrical stage with now they have a screen, but they used to have these, I don't know, 15 backdrops or something that kept falling. which super cool, obviously. And it's always more than just the band playing the songs. And I mean, we don't have an Eddie and we don't have an abundance of backdrops, but still, um, it's not us now like this sitting here in my tank top going on stage. There has to be more involved and looks uh and the presentation of it all is almost as important for a live show as the music itself to
Yeah.
us at least.
Yeah, and to that end, with your last album, Blood and Glitter, you all were finalists in Eurovision in
Yeah.
2023. What were your biggest takeaways from that, and to what extent did that, I guess, impact the way that you approach songwriting as well? Like, did that have any sort of lasting effect in that arena?
uh, in terms of songwriting, I couldn't tell you how it affected it in any way other than um that s- no, I don't know how to phrase it because it makes it Blood and Glitter, for example, seem like it was written for um Eurovision, which it wasn't. It was written before that. But sometimes um it helps when thinking of a stage in mind, when writing, and we didn't necessarily do that ever. Um, so maybe that's something that got influenced there that we could think of that more. But I also think that it doesn't really make the albums better. It's just one thing that popped into our head then. Didn't really influence the writing overall. What a big takeaway was is that it's always worth it to try to be always yourself and be authentic, even though um yeah, it might be laid out negatively for you, especially on, for example, on the biggest production, the biggest TV production in the world, which is Eurovision. Um, Sometimes you just got to make decisions that's just purely for you, not for even if the BBC doesn't like it. Um, and then even though you turn out to be last and everything, there's people who will like you not only for your music but also for your message and your authenticity. And that's always very important, I think, especially when it's so easy to be called a commercialized sellout band, especially as a niche metal band when you go to Eurovision. But hey, someone will always do that.
Yeah. No, I think that authenticity point really goes a long way because definitely everyone can tell when someone is just like doing something for just like the show of it and not because it's like actually true to who they are. And I think that sticks out with you all. And I think back in the mid 2000s, when Lordi did Eurovision, I think it stood out that they didn't change the fact that they're just like this weird monster band from Finland.
Yeah, yeah. Love that. They
Yeah.
didn't really. And I mean, it was also for their benefit. I mean, it's huge theatrics and everything, and it's just them. It's just them, and they still go on stage in these costumes. And yeah, it's nice that they pull through with it.
Yeah. So at the beginning of 2026, I know you all have some European tours coming up, but I know you're hitting North America early
Hmm.
2026 with Birthday Massacre and Wednesday 13. What are you looking forward to the most on your upcoming tours? And um, what are some of your favorite things about uh, any time that you get an opportunity to tour North America?
I mean, we didn't have that many opportunities yet, but from what I remember from last year when we were there in September, and we all really had a great time. Um, it was our first proper North American headline tour. I mean, it, we were all really impressed with the people that showed up and how good the shows were. And obviously, when you do something for the first time, even though you've been a band for a long time, it's a new experience that kind of yeah reignites um, some things when you get to experience something for the first time together, and you can talk about it and stuff. It's really really nice for the overall yeah, dynamics in the band. And now that we can do it again with Friends and Birthday Massacre and Wednesday 13, who's also featuring on volume two, I think. No, three. Forgot which volume exactly. Um, it will be another new experience. And I loved it because, especially the USA, were such a movie in a way. It's just such a being there. And I found it hilarious. And the people there were really, really nice, everyone. I didn't have one bad interaction with people in 3 weeks, which was unaccounted for. Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it all.
Yeah. I think it's always interesting just to hear perspectives on like the just like the culture of the US here from people from abroad because I it goes back to when I was in college. I had a semester where I had a roommate from Australia and he was obsessed with red Solo cups because they were in all of like the party movies, but they didn't
Yeah.
sell them in Australia. So he bought like boxes of them and shipped them back to Australia to his family.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of these things happen, and you're like, oh, it's really like that. The streets not having any curbs for uh, passengers going by foot, that you can just drive to the mall. You can't walk there. It's super funny. I was like, okay, I have to cross this motorway now by foot. There's no crossing. I want to go to that mall though. That was super, and portion sizes and everything. But I have fond, great memories of that tour, and I'm sure we can relive all of them in January and February.
Yeah, no, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know that you've got a tight schedule with more interviews on the way. So,
Two
is there
minutes.
anything else you want to put out there before we wrap things up?
Um, no, I'm just gonna shamelessly plug again. Opus Noir will be out on August 8th. We will be on tour in North America in January and February 2026. Looking forward to it all. There's a bunch of singles already out. There's not even every single out for Volume 1 yet, so keep your eyes peeled and your ears peeled. That's the thing. I don't know. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time, Pi.
Run you, run you, run.